Malaki Branham appeared in 66 games for the San Antonio Spurs during his rookie campaign in 2022-23. He averaged a shade over 10 points in just under 24 minutes of action to go along with 2.7 rebounds, 1.9 assists, and 0.5 steals. He shot 44% from the field overall and 30.2% from three-point range. Let's take a brief look at his main strengths from throughout the season. First and foremost, it looks like Branham has a chance to be one of the best when it comes to floaters. He took 68 driving floaters throughout the year and made 39 of them, which is 57.4%. Among all players who took at least 60 driving floaters, that was the third best percentage per second spectrum. Only Donovan Mitchell and De'Aaron Fox shot it better. Obviously, they both had many more attempts. Secondly, Branham is most comfortable when he's the handler in pick and roll, looking to create space for something in the mid-range. He was actually San Antonio's most reliable mid-range shooter. From 10 to 14 feet out, he shot 52.6% on 78 attempts. That was a top 15 mark among players who took at least 70 shots from this range. Some of Branham's attempts were floaters, and some were just standard pull-up jumpers. About 35% of his shot attempts came from 3 to 16 feet out. One of his best games of the season came against Philadelphia on February 3rd. In 34 minutes, he scored 26 points on 11 of 16 overall shooting from the field and 2 of 5 from three-point distance. In reviewing this game, most of what I saw were those two main strength areas. He made 3 pull-up jumpers from the mid-range out of the pick and roll. He made 3 driving floaters. He did have this one transition layup. I do think he's solid in transition, but he only shot 43% on the season in transition. And then his 2 threes were catch and shoot, one while relocating and the other stationary. Interesting about Branham is that he's much better shooting from distance when relocating rather than being still. On 52 attempts, he shot 42.3% on catch and shoot relocation threes per second spectrum. And then on 137 attempts, he shot 28.5% on catch and shoot stationary three-point attempts. Another one of his better games came less than 2 weeks later in Charlotte, when he scored 23 points on 10 of 14 overall shooting and 3 of 6 three-point shooting. Once again, we see the driving floaters. Here he made a nice cut and connected on a floater that way. Now in this game, unlike most of his performances, he really shot it well on those standstill three-point attempts. He made 3 three-pointers right off the catch without any movement before the shot. Key areas to improve for Branham include the three-point shooting both off the catch and when pulling up, initiating more contact on drives, and becoming a better playmaker when he gets into the paint. A game that he really struggled in was against New Orleans on March 21st when he shot 2 of 11 from the field, including 1 of 7 from three-point range. The three-point shot wasn't falling, obviously, and then he really struggled creating any separation, which forced him to take some highly contested shots, both from the mid-range and at the basket. He just didn't have any space in this game to get a clean floater off. When I think of players he reminds me of, I immediately think of self-creators who love to get into the mid-range and are very efficient on floaters. Now, he's obviously past his prime, but Reggie Jackson was like that, particularly during his years with the Pistons. When I watch Branham, I see a lot of E'Twaun Moore, who had an excellent floater when he got in front of his defender and into the lane. Maybe a best-case scenario for Branham is CJ McCollum, who has been one of the craftier guards in the league the last several years. I saw a lot of Chris Middleton comps when Branham was at Ohio State, but Middleton is a few inches taller and is a far superior defender. Throughout the 2022-23 season, Branham scored at least 20 points 10 times, with his season high being 27 against Detroit on February 10th. He started in 32 games. It'll be interesting to see how the Spurs decide to utilize him going forward. I would expect him to be more of a spark off the bench, but we'll see how much improvement he makes this summer. So that'll wrap up this video. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe.